Welcome to Whiskey One, the channel for the novice, the curious, and the connoisseur. I'm Whiskey One, and today we're going to be tasting and reviewing the Widow Jane 10-year. So stick around. Welcome, Whiskey fam, again to another episode where we are going to be reviewing and tasting some birthday whiskeys. Now, if you're just joining us, we got several bottles of whiskey for my birthday over the last holiday, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a video review of every single one that we got. So this is part of the lineup, and we're really excited to try this because this came by way of my young brother Dennis. So thank you, Dennis, for contributing to the Whiskey One channel. And this is the Widow Jane 10-year. There's not a lot of information about the distillery, but these guys are based in Brooklyn, New York. And for the most part, they source their whiskey, or at least those that are part of the Widow Jane lineup. This is a bourbon that's been aged for 10 years using a blend of different bourbons. So not a lot of information again on the source, but you know, I'd like to see what you guys have to say. If you've seen other reviews on the Widow Jane 10-year, let me know if you know more information about where this came from. I specifically try not to read reviews about whiskeys that I'm going to do a video on or do my own reviews, because I don't want any subjective ideas coming into my mind when I actually taste it. So everything that I get out of this and put on the videos is really coming from me. I'm not trying to take other people's ideas. And well, let's get to it. This is going to be a fresh uncorking. Again, not the first time that I've tried Widow Jane, but this is the first time that I tried the Widow Jane from my own stash. So here we go. Nice little cork pipe. Okay, good little color to it. If you guys have tried Widow Jane before, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. The Widow Jane family lineup, if you will, has the 10-year, 13-year, and it has this Decadence release as well that I've heard a lot of good things about. Again, based in Brooklyn, New York. They make small batches. Typically, they take 5-barrel batches, blend them, and then put it out. So I'm interested to see what this is about. Again, I've had some experience with this bad boy, but it's been a while. So for all you watching and following, cheers. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but there is sort of a telltale aroma to it that makes me think this might be MGP source whiskey. It's a good amount of candied cherry right up front. Very fruity. But I also get a little bit of warm leather. Heavy notes of vanilla, caramel. Almost like apple pie too, like fresh made apple pie. Again, a good amount of leather, but now it starts to sort of open up into tea. Now this is the neck pour, so I try not to get too judgy on whether a whiskey's fantastic or give it a score. When I go through the neck pour, I try to get into it, wait a couple weeks, get back into it, let it sort of open up. If you're new to whiskey in general, you know, it's not a bad idea to let your whiskey oxidize a little bit and go back into it. If you're patient enough, you know, let it sort of breathe a little bit. Also, if you're at a gathering, you might as well uncork it, let it breathe for about 5-10 minutes, and it should do the trick, really. So let's go ahead and give this a taste. Yeah, this feels like MGP bourbon. Nothing bad with that. MGP is really a commonly sourced whiskey that a lot of craft distillers use, or startups use, or just, you know, distillers in general or bottlers in general that don't really necessarily have like a, you know, good stock of whiskey that they can just put out to the market, fill up the shelves with. But these guys do distill their own whiskey, just not in particular the Widow Jane 10. And who knows, if you guys know if they're taking some of their distillate and blending it in with maybe something that is sourced, I'd love to hear what that is. Drop a comment. But on the taste, more that candied cherry. It's very fruity up front, and it's got a good amount of like high rise spice. So you get your baking spices, good amount of cinnamon, I'll say clove and anise. You know, I wouldn't say it teeters on that black licorice, but you know, you get more black tea and more of that leather, that warm leather starts to come through. So I'm gonna take another sip. Man, this is good. This is really good. You know, I think for a 10-year bourbon, they can be good or bad. They can be a little too oaky, and this feels just right. Not super oaky at all. If anything, it feels a little slightly like seasoned oak. You know, again, without knowing more about their barrel aging process, I'm just sort of gonna spitball that they are barreling their own stuff. They get the distillate, sure enough, get their own, you know, barrels, if you will, and do their thing with them once they get that distillate. But as far as the overall taste, this is good. If you enjoy sipping bourbon neat, you know, without adding an ice cube to it, oh, this is going to be just right up your alley. It's also a great bargain too, because it's not really that expensive. I can find these for about $65 to about $75. And I think it's a really good bargain considering this is a 10-year. And overall presentation, flavor, it's going to check all the boxes for you bourbon lovers. And again, I'm spitballing. But I feel like this is an MGP whiskey, or at least it's got MGP in it. If for those of you who don't know what I'm even talking about, MGP is a large distillery that pretty much provides a lot of sourced whiskey to other brands. MGP stands for Midwest Grain Products. They have gone through a name change. I think they got either bought out by another brand or owner, but everybody pretty much, you know, refers to them as MGP. I'm gonna take one more sip and give you my final thoughts and conclusions. So cheers again. Man, it's very easy to sip on. Very decadent as far as the fruity presence of it. But again, you get good amounts of vanilla and caramel. You get that candied cherry. And if you wait a while, you get more of that apple pie that I was talking about. You know, a little bit of sugar cookie, but it's got a good amount of earthiness to it. Again, tea. And as far as like the overall finish, I would say it's got a good, moderate, light finish. It's not super heavy, but it dances on the tongue. I think this is going to be a nice, easy sipper. This is bottled at 91 proof, so it's going to be very, very approachable. And for that, I'm going to say that this is meant to be a good dram for the whiskey novice. Definitely get you there. A good representation bourbon, and I think it definitely checks all the boxes. So if you're looking for something classy, you know, something to serve for the friends and family, this is going to be right up your alley. So with that being said, I highly recommend it. Now for all you guys watching and following, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It would definitely help us out. And for those returning to the channel, thanks again for stopping and checking us out. And we've also are officially launching our Patreon. So you can go to Patreon/Whiskey One channel and support us. We have different tiers, and we're looking to get more support to help us branch out and do other things with the channel. We want to start doing live streams, podcasts, and the only way to really do that is step up your game with the equipment. So we would love to get your support there. We're also selling our Whiskey One shirts, so hit us up. We definitely want to hear from you guys. Is there a whiskey that you would like us to review, talk about next? Let us know in the comments section. Now here at Whiskey One, I also want to do another quick shout out to my bro, Dennis. Thanks again for the bottle, and stay tuned. We have other whiskey bottles that are going to be part of the birthday whiskey series. So here at Whiskey One, don't forget, it's about that one you enjoy. Cheers.
Shut up and sit down.